The air is heavy, thick with the silence of forgotten screams. The stench of decay lingers, a grim reminder of the tortured souls who once resided within these walls. We're venturing into the darkest corners of the earth, to places where reason has fled and shadows dance with the tormented. Tonight we explore 3 haunted asylums, where the spirits of the forgotten roam. These asylums, once beacons of hope, now stand as chilling monuments to despair. They whisper tales of unimaginable suffering, of treatments gone wrong, and of lives lost in the depths of madness. But beyond the rusting bars and peeling paint, something else remains, something restless, tormented, something hungry for company. Join me if you dare as we delve into the chilling stories of the abandoned Willowbrook Asylum, the forsaken Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and the eerie Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Prepare yourself, for the spirits of the forgotten are waiting, and they're dying to tell their tales. Our journey into the heart of asylum horror begins on Staten Island, New York. Here, amidst the urban sprawl, stands the skeletal remains of Willowbrook Asylum. Once a beacon of hope for the mentally disabled, it quickly descended into a nightmare of neglect and abuse. Opened in 1947, Willowbrook Asylum was meant to house 4,000 patients, but greed and indifference saw its population swell to over 6,000, crammed into squalid conditions. Disease ran rampant and basic care was non-existent. Patients, many of them children, were left to rot in their own filth. The air was thick with the stench of urine and despair. The staff, overwhelmed and undertrained, resorted to brutal methods to maintain control. Stories leaked out of experimental treatments, of patients strapped to beds, their screams echoing down the desolate hallways. Willowbrook became a living hell, a place where hope went to die, and die many did. Thousands perished within Willowbrook's walls, victims of neglect, abuse, and their own internal demons. Their souls, unable to find peace, lingered. They clung to the decaying structure, their anguish seeping into the very foundation. Visitors to Willowbrook, even today, speak of a palpable sense of dread that washes over them upon entering the grounds. They report disembodied whispers, the chilling laughter of children echoing through the empty corridors. Shadows flicker at the edge of vision, and icy fingers brush against skin. One of the most unsettling stories revolves around a young boy named Michael. Michael was admitted to Willowbrook suffering from severe autism. Unable to communicate, he retreated into his own world, finding solace in a worn teddy bear. Michael became a target for the crueler staff members, subject to their torment and abuse. One night, Michael's tortured cries were silenced. His body, small and broken, was found discarded in a secluded ward. His teddy bear lay beside him, its fur matted with tears. But Michael's suffering wasn't over. His spirit, forever tethered to the asylum, now wanders the halls, clutching his teddy bear. Visitors claim to see him, a forlorn figure peering from darkened doorways, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and sadness. Some have even reported feeling a small hand tugging at their clothes, as if seeking comfort from the horrors that still plague Willowbrook. Michael's story is just one of many that haunt the decaying halls of Willowbrook. It serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can fester when humanity fails, and the restless spirits that remain, forever seeking solace in the afterlife. Our next stop takes us to the outskirts of Louisville, Kentucky, to a hilltop shrouded in mist and sorrow. It is here we find Waverly Hills Sanatorium, a behemoth of brick and stone, looming over the landscape like a skeletal specter. Built in 1910, Waverly Hills was initially intended as a tuberculosis sanatorium. At the time, consumption, as it was then known, was a death sentence. Families would bring their loved ones to Waverly, desperate for a cure, clinging to the slimmest hope. But for many, it was a final goodbye. The death toll at Waverly was staggering, With limited treatment options, patients succumbed to the disease in droves. The air grew heavy with the rasping coughs of the dying, and the stench of death permeated every corner of the building. Desperate to contain the spread of the disease, doctors resorted to experimental treatments. Patients underwent painful surgeries, their chests cracked open in a desperate attempt to remove the infected tissue. Many didn't survive the procedures. Legend has it that a body chute was constructed, a macabre tunnel used to discreetly dispose of the deceased. The bodies, wrapped in white sheets, would be slid down the chute, their final journey a descent into darkness. As the years passed, the horrors of Waverly Hills intensified. Stories circulated of patients driven mad by the constant presence of death. Screams echoed through the corridors as sanity slipped away, replaced by a terrifying delirium. One such story revolves around a young nurse named Mary Lee. Mary, known for her kindness and compassion, contracted tuberculosis while tending to her patients. As her condition worsened, she was moved to room 502, becoming a prisoner in the very place she had dedicated her life to helping others. Consumed by despair and driven mad by the disease, Mary took her own life, leaping from the roof of the sanatorium. Her body was found broken and twisted on the grounds below. But Mary's spirit, it is said, never truly left Waverly. Visitors and paranormal investigators claim to encounter Mary's ghost wandering the halls of the 5th floor, her anguished cries echoing through the empty rooms. Some have even reported seeing her spectral form outside room 502, her eyes filled with a chilling sadness. Waverly Hills Sanatorium stands today as a chilling testament to the fragility of life and the enduring power of despair. The spirits of the forgotten linger within its walls, their stories etched into the very fabric of the building, a haunting reminder of the darkness that can consume even the most compassionate of hearts. Chapter 3, the eerie Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Our final destination takes us deep into the heart of West Virginia to a remote and desolate stretch of land known as Weston. It is here, shrouded in mist and a chilling history, that we find the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. This imposing Gothic structure, with its towering spires and decaying facade, seems plucked straight from a nightmare. Opened in 1864, the asylum was intended to provide care for the mentally ill. However, it quickly became a dumping ground for the unwanted. Overcrowding was rampant. The air was thick with the stench of human waste, and the screams of the tormented echoed through the corridors. Patients were subjected to inhumane treatments, including lobotomies, electroshock therapy, and ice baths. Patients were restrained, abused, and left to languish in their own filth. One of the most infamous residents was a patient known as the Butcher. Driven mad by his own inner demons, he would sneak into the kitchen at night, stealing knives. He would then return to his ward, torturing and mutilating his fellow patients. The staff, terrified, confined him to a padded cell where he spent his days rocking back and forth. Visitors claim to feel the Butcher's presence, a palpable sense of evil that clings to the air. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum stands today as a chilling reminder of the horrors that can unfold when humanity turns its back on the vulnerable. It is a place where darkness reigns, where the spirits of the forgotten roam the halls, their tormented cries a constant reminder of the suffering that once unfolded within its walls. We've journeyed into the heart of darkness, exploring the chilling tales of 3 asylums where the spirits of the forgotten roam. From the echoing halls of Willowbrook to the body chute of Waverly Hills and the blood-soaked floors of Trans-Allegheny, we've confronted the horrors that linger where madness and despair once reigned. But the stories don't end here. The world is full of forgotten places where shadows whisper and the veil between our world and the next wears thin. So if you dare to venture further into the darkness, join me. Like this video and subscribe to my channel for more journeys into the unknown. And remember, when you hear a whisper in the dark, it might not be the wind, it might just be the spirits of the forgotten, eager to share their stories. Sleep tight, if you can.